Good morning, everyone, and welcome to this week's edition of Saturday Morning Coffee with Back to Basics Dog Training. Um, for those of you who are joining me for the first time, I'm Leon. I'm the trainer here over at Back to Basics Dog Training, and each and every Saturday morning at 11 o'clock, I bring to you this live free dog training Q&A session. No questions are off limit, guys, so get your questions popping. Let me know if you have any issues with your dog that you need to address or would like me to address. Put your questions in the comments and I'll get to them. Or just give me a shout out saying good morning. Let me know where you're watching from. That works too. I know I wasn't supposed to be here live this week. I was supposed to be on the road, and I told you guys I'd get to it later in the day. But like everything else, Hurricane Ian changed some of my plans. I'll be leaving for going up north tomorrow. So I got a lot of work to do now that we finalize things to set up my schedule. But we're excited, and next week we'll be coming live to you from Long Island. So a couple exciting things that are happening here at Back to Basics Dog Training. I just want to bring it to your attention. It doesn't matter if you're watching it from live from this Carolina area or anywhere across the country. On October 28th, please mark your calendars. At Friday night, October 28th, I will be doing a live free Mastering the Walk Back to Basics style seminar. It'll be live in a facility with a live studio audience. I am attempting right now to figure out exactly how to broadcast it live on Facebook, YouTube, and still be able to answer questions. I definitely know I can broadcast it live, and I am going to broadcast it live. It'll be a 2-hour seminar, my 5 easy steps to mastering the walk, which I'm excited to bring to you guys. And like I said, the best part is it's free. The only issue I'm having right now is how to get the questions from my virtual audience from all across the country and across the world. But we'll figure that out. There's got to be a way to do it. I just got to figure it out. So if you're interested in going, it is posted out on my Facebook page as of today. It's on Remember Me Rescues Facebook page. It's on my YouTube channel. Set the reminders. Get it on your calendars, guys. It's Friday night, October 28th at 6:30. It's going to be approximately 2 hours of a lot of entertainment. I hope it'll be fun. I hope it'll be entertaining. And more importantly, hopefully it'll be helpful for you guys to understand my methodology on mastering the walk in more than I can give you here, or even more than I did on my YouTube channel in that playlist that I talk about every week. So again, good morning. Put your comments in. Let me know you're watching. Let me know where you're watching from. It do me a world of good to see some names pop up there. I know we're all dealing with the after effects of Ian, so our thoughts and prayers are to the people in South Florida and along the coast of the Carolinas that got inundated. Hopefully everybody stays safe. So with that being said, last week I had a great topic on here where I was talking about a specific dog who was emaciated and was in foster care and things weren't going well. And I really want to hit on this, guys, this foster, because this week alone, I can't tell you how many posts I saw on Facebook about people who rescue dogs, adopted dogs, and within a very, very short period, returned the dogs. Which I don't know about you guys, but it breaks my heart. I mean, these dogs get bounced around. We don't know the past. Then they go to a shelter or into a foster program. They go from one house to another. Then they think they're getting their forever home, and they get returned. And if you think about what this does to the dogs, it is so confusing. So I really, really want to explain to you people, it's not always. Last week I talked about a big dog, a dog that should be 90 pounds, probably weighs about 45, who went through some trauma in its life, being abused. I don't know if it was physically abused, but it was definitely abused because it wasn't fed properly. Also, part of that abuse is assuming it never went to the vet. That still has to be neutered. He still needs to be neutered, but he's too skinny to be neutered right now. So I know he's back up in New York as of this morning. It didn't work out with the foster down here. And that's okay as well. But I know the people that have him up in New York are going to do the right thing for him and get him into a good forever home, or at least a good foster home that will give him time to decompress. Guys, it's a slow process. I can't stress it enough. And, where I see the worst of the worst is not so much in the bigger dogs; it's the smaller dogs that get returned more often. From what I see on Facebook and things like that, and that's because people look at smaller dogs differently. And guys, we need to stop this. It doesn't matter if it's a Chihuahua or a Great Dane; they got to be treated the same. Yes, it's easier to physically control a Chihuahua than it is a Great Dane. But it's, again, everything I've ever talked about, everything you guys ever heard me talk about is not about physical control. It's about more doing a mental control. And that is understanding what these dogs need. They don't need us worrying about what happened to them yesterday. They can care less at this point of their lives. What they need from us is somebody who's going to understand how to move them forward and give them the proper structure they need to move forward. And that includes the little dogs. Guys, they don't get treated any differently. We need to stop that. You know, the same rules. If I say a Great Dane that you rescue, that you're bringing into the house, it needs decompression, needs to go in a crate and learn the crate for 2 weeks before it has access to some of the other areas of the house, the same rule applies to a Chihuahua. If you get a Chihuahua, you're rescuing a Chihuahua, give it the structure, the rules, the boundaries, the limitations that it needs inside the crate. The crate should be the happy place, the go-to place, this comfort zone, and we have to make it that way for them. It's not shoving them into a crate because that's what they need to do. We need to guide them into the crate. You know, I talk about the journey of training constantly, and the journey, my job is to be the guide of this dog on this journey. You know, I'm going on a safari in Africa, I wish. And, I'm not going to do it by myself. So I'm going to have a guide with me on this journey to take me and keep me safe, to keep me comfortable, to keep me calm. So if I'm on the safari and a lion's coming near us, this guide should know what to do and make me feel comfortable that they know what they're doing. So it's the same process when we're working with our dogs. We're guiding them through this journey. For whatever reason they were kicked out of their homes, they didn't have a home, they found them on the street, whatever the reasoning is, that's fine and dandy. We need to move them forward, and we're going to guide them through the journey. And that's by first introducing them to the crate in a calm manner, not shoving them in the crate. And some of these dogs may not want to go in the crate, or they may make noise in the crate, or they may do this in the crate, or they may do that in the crate. Whatever it is, it doesn't matter. We have to guide them and let them know, hey, this is a safe place. There's no reason to whine and cry and bark in here. There's no reason to be afraid to go in there. So the process starts there, this journey, this guiding. You take the dog on leash, you bring him into the crate. You can give him a treat when they get in the crate, but don't shut the door on them instantly. Think about it if I did that to you. I bring you into a room and I slam the door shut on you. You don't think I'm kidnapping you. So, you guide them, you leave the crate open, you stay there with them. And when they're settled down, then you can start the process of closing the door of the crate. And then if they react, don't freak out. Don't invite them out. Don't take them out. Take them out when they're looking at you for guidance. Take them out when they're calm, in the state of mind you want them to be. So the routine I would do is, if I worked with a dog in a crate, I would take the dog, guide them in with the leash. If I think they're food motivated, I think it would help the journey, I would give them a high value treat. And then when I see that they're calm and they're looking at me, not trying to get out of the crate, not doing anything, I would invite them out. I would ask them to come out with a word, or, whatever. I have them on a leash, I'd guide them out. And when I guide them out, I'd give them a treat. And then I would repeat. At any point, if they tried to get out of the crate on their own, I would say no with a little bit of a leash correction, because I still have them on a leash, and put them back in there. Now, this time they won't get a treat when I put them back in there, but when they're calm and I want to see that they're looking at me for guidance, I will bring them out of the crate to allow them to understand that when I ask them to come out of the crate, that is a good thing. Now, guys, I'm not seeing any comments yet, so I'm hoping people are actually watching. I'm trying to go on live just to make sure I didn't miss anything. So if you are watching, just because I sometimes have problems here, just let me know if you're watching. Just shoot me a comment just so I can see that the comments are working, guys. But make this crate a good thing. Let them know this is going to be your happy place. And there's nothing wrong with the crate. It's not torturing the dog. It's not abusing the dog. Yes, they went through whatever in their past. But if we're just going to take them in and smother them with human love and affection, we are not satisfying their animal, dog, canine, whatever we want to use, needs. Loving them in a human way is not satisfying them. That's satisfying us. And then there's a huge, huge difference, and it's a huge, huge gap that I deal with on a day in, day out basis. Um, Good morning, Jen. Can't wait to go see Ramsey or whatever his name is this week. Um, when I get up there next week, I'm hopefully get to see him and help guide him on his or his foster on the journey. Um, but the crate should be a good thing, guys. Stop making them negative. Stop worrying about, well, you know what, they never had anything, and I'm gonna lock them in a crate, and they're not gonna feel the love. They'll actually feel more of the love because you're giving them what they need in their DNA sequence, which is structure. You're telling them specific rules that they need to adhere to, and they will be so much more appreciative. I'm telling you now, as fosters, if fosters would start this process before they try to get to their forever home, and these dogs understand that decompression, and we give them the time to decompress, and we give them the crate, and we let them enjoy the crate, and we slowly introduce them to other things in the house, always on leash, and we give them the structure of the walk, and we do all these things. I think more fosters would fail, which isn't a bad thing, because they'll see the happy, balanced dog that everybody likes. On the banner behind me, I said I'm 100% committed to help you get the balanced dog that you want, or something like that. What does it say? 100% committed to bring your dog back to balance. And it is so, so important for the dogs to understand that balance is about rules, boundaries, limitations, and setting very clear structure. And that's where it starts, is the moment you bring this dog in. I don't care if you're fostering or you're adopting. You need to start establishing the guidelines that you want them to follow. So, you're adopting a dog. The worst thing you can do for the dog when you bring them into your home for the first time, or the first day, or the first week, is to flood them with 100 people coming to the house to meet the new family member. That is so freaking overwhelming to a dog. We had this situation not too long ago with a dog that I helped with. We made it very clear to the person that was adopting the dog not to have a million people come over and meet the dog. Let the dog settle in, let it become calm. And in a couple of weeks after some of this decompression, you can start slowly bringing people into the home. Day one, they brought 20 people into the house to meet the new family member, and the dog was just overwhelmed. And, guys, when dogs get overwhelmed, it can be an ugly sight. They can get they feel like nobody has their back. They have to defend themselves. Good morning. I'm definitely a foster failure. Good morning, Cindy, by the way. I have 7 rescues. My question is, when I want them back in after letting them outside in the fence yard and 2 acres of yard, they all come except for one, my husky. That's why it's a husky. How can I get her to come in? I always have to go out backyard to get her inside. So I would definitely, Cindy, great question. I would definitely work some one-on-one with the husky on a long lead, and work on the recall. Guys, we don't I've said this before in my lives. I don't think most people put enough onus or importance on the recall command. To me, it's the most important command in the basic obedience package that people should work on but don't, which is the recall. We all work on the cutesy stuff, to say, give me a paw, roll over, play dead, whatever. But the recall is so, so important. So how you do that is start on a long lead, get a 25-foot lead. You don't have to give the full 25-foot. Let the husky get 6 feet in front of you by name, whatever the dog's name is. Fido, come, yay! Make a big deal out of it. If they're food motivated, of course, use treats. Use food, because this is a high value command. And then eventually what you want to do is let them have the full 25, 50-foot lead, whatever you get. Just be careful the longer the lead, they get tangled up a lot more. Let them go out. Let them have 50 feet. Let them smell, sleep, get distracted, and then call them again. You still have the husky on the leash, and you're like, Fido, come. And you guide them with the leash to you, make a big deal out of it, praise, 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 treat, 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 until they can understand that you do this enough times that every time they hear Fido, come, Fido, here, whatever sounds you're going to use, they understand they have to come back. And eventually you're going to wean away from the treats, because I'm not always going to treat the dogs, because always we have obese dogs. But it's a work in process. I've told the story before here on this platform and to my customers. When I first got Zoe as a puppy, I worked every day, 3 times a day, 15 minutes, because she was a puppy, on nothing but recall. I wanted her recall no matter where she was in this world, no matter what distractions she encountered in this world. I needed her to come to me when I called her. It was the thing I worked the hardest on with her, and I'm happy and proud to say that her recall 9 years later is bulletproof. It's been bulletproof for a long time. She was chasing deer one day in my yard up north. I called her. She stopped dead in her tracks and came right back to me, because from her imprint of me from day one was recall. And it was so important. But you have to take the time. And it doesn't matter how old the dog is, guys. This can start today. Dogs should understand that when you call them, they come. Huskies are stubborn. It takes a lot longer. I have this issue with my grand dog. He's out in the yard. There are times that dog just does not want to come in. But it's something we're working on, because it's unacceptable to me. So take the time. Go get yourself 2 25-foot leashes. That's what I always recommend. Start on the 1 25-foot leash. And when I say 25, it doesn't mean you need to give them the full 25. Let them go 6 feet, 10 feet in front of you. Call them back. And work on that. Master the short distance. Once you feel comfortable with that, say 10 feet, and he or she comes back to you, give them more lead. Let them smell, do their thing, and then call them again and guide them again. So every single time, it's the same routine. And eventually, they should just come back. But you got to do this. It could take, and again, Huskies are stubborn, so it may take you a little bit longer. It could take some dogs 5 times of doing this process, and they understand it instantly, and other dogs it may take 500 times. It's hard to say. But the end result is it's worth it. I don't like, we had the remnants of the storm yesterday, and I let Zoe, I have to walk her, so she's on a leash. But reality is nobody was around, so I just let her off leash, let her do her business, and I wasn't worried, because I call her, she comes. And no matter what the distractions are, I walk her on a leash at night, because I'm not going to walk her in the backyard. I get it. She's so good when I do that. Does her business. We walk in. So during the day, I should walk her on the longer leash. Absolutely. And practice and make the recall fun. Guys, that's a fun command, because it's so important. We save their lives. And, she comes back to you, and when she comes back to you, you praise her, praise her, praise her. High value treats. Don't give regular dog biscuits. Give high value. This is so important. Boil up some chicken, low sodium hot dogs, cheese, something that's going to really be, hey, this is good. And then when they come back, I mean, even men, guys, we have to act like idiots. When that dog comes back, it's like, oh, good girl. Yeah. Give them the treat, play. It's about excitement, wanting to come back to you. You have to generate that excitement, because they want to follow that. As much as I talk about let your dogs get excited, that's the time you want them excited. So you let her out. She's 10 feet in front of you. She's doing her stuff, and all of a sudden it's, Fifi, come. And she comes, yeah. And then you can work some other obedience in with that too. If she comes too fast because she's a husky and she wants to jump on you because she's so excited, well, that's unacceptable. Fifi, come. Yeah, sit. Once she gets near you, now you're in control. Hopefully this makes sense, Cindy. It is so worth it. I hear the stories. I can never have my husky off leash. I can never have, especially about huskies. They're just dogs. Yes, they run. Yes, they have a DNA about pulling sleds and going for long distances. But if you control their animal dog needs, the breed needs aren't so specific. They are stubborn. But I know people that are stubborn, so it all balances out. So just work with her. Yeah, that may tell you something that she's not looking at you. But I don't know if you guys see the comments. And he says she does not come. She does come in for my boys, but not for me. Why? That should tell you a lot. She looks at your boys a little differently. She looks at them as a little bit more of an authoritative figure. And the best way I can relate that, and please don't take anything I say personally because it's not. When I was growing up, if my brother and sister called me in, I didn't necessarily come in because who the hell are they? But if my parents called me in, I came in. Um, Dogs look at the same thing. If they don't look at you, if they look at you as an equal, as part of their pack, not as their leader of the pack, they tend not to listen. They boys may have a little bit more um, respect from the dog. I don't know if that's the right word, and it probably isn't. Um, but for some reason, she follows them more. She doesn't look at them necessarily as pack members. She may look at them a little bit more as pack leaders, and that's what it's about. They come back to leaders. They don't come back to pack mates the same way we do. And that's what I've seen when dogs listen to one family member and not necessarily listen to the other one. It's more about the too much nurturing, too much of the oh my god, you're so cute, you're lovable, I love you, you're mommy, whatever. And that's not being a serious pack leader. Yes, you can love them, but they have to be balanced first. I'm a firm believer of that. So if they're looking at you more as that, I don't want to say motherly, but pack mate thing, they're not going to listen to you as much. And it's not to say you're doing anything wrong. Is you're loving them, you're loving her, but you may be loving her more for the human part of it than the dog part. The dog love in my world is about the structure and the leadership first. That is ultimate love. Even if you have to discipline, which is that slight tug of the leash, that equals love. And then once they're balanced, I can do whatever I want. It's always a balanced dog. I can rough her up. I can get her jacked up to the point where she's biting me too hard because we're playing, snap my fingers, and she goes right back to balance. And same thing with her recall. I've let her, and like I said, she chased deers in my yard when I was up north. And that's a high prey drive for a hound dog or any dog. And she was chasing the deer, and I called her. She knew, whoop, pack leader's calling me. I got to come back. I got to stop this what I'm doing and come back. But it was a lot of work. It wasn't easy. Just because it's my dog doesn't mean I didn't put a lot of work into it, guys. So she may look at, and Zoe does the same thing. And we did have that incident when we lived up north. My wife let Zoe out. There was a deer across the street, or something across the street. Zoe took off. My wife called. Couldn't care less. So they do look at people differently. It's establish yourself as a leader first, then the rest comes. My son said that's definitely me. I always very mushy with them all. Think she's like to chase my walking after in the backyard like a game. Yep, she's playing with you as a pack mate. And your son's right. I know it's hard to hear when your kids are right, but they're give the love in a discipline and structure sort of way. You'll see it'll change the world. How to prepare a nippy 14-year-old Jack Russell Terrier for thing? Try crate meds. Only thing that seems to help leash inside and muzzle. Not fun. Well, Thanksgiving is overstimulating. Great question, Kim, and thank you for asking it. So 14 years old, 2 years old doesn't make a difference. The dog needs to understand there's certain rules when people come into the house and you have to behave. So what I would do is actually start this process way like today, before Thanksgiving, because when Thanksgiving comes, it's a lot of people. Let's start at 1, 2, 3, build up to a lot of people, and do what you're doing. No meds though, no crate, because that's not going to work. That's avoidance. Is have your dog on a leash, have your dog muzzled, and start the process of having people come over to your house. And do not let the people in your house, if I don't know if it's a he or she, if Jack is overstimulated. So if somebody knocks on the door and he don't open the door. The state of mind is focused on the door. I mean, the door is a negative. So with him, you don't want to open the door if his mind is anything but calm. So what you do is put him on the muzzle. The muzzle is for you. It's not for him. I always say this, muzzles help humans calm down, because once a muzzle's on, we don't have to worry about the bite. So we naturally get calm. So our energy changes. So what I would do is have somebody come to the door, knock on the door. He's going to go probably crazy. Don't open the door. Don't even approach the door. Have him on a leash. Send a kid or a family member or a neighbor or somebody, knock on the door, ring the doorbell, create that chaos that starts this process. He gets negative with his energy, which is the barking and all that. You're going to pop the leash and say, no, calm, forget about what happened yesterday, because we can't fix yesterday. We're working on moving forward. And do not make the step to the door until the state of mind is calm. And this could take a while. You're talking 14 years in the making. 14 years. So this is going to take a long time, but it works. And in each individual step is a new threshold. So if you're 10 feet away from the door arbitrarily and you finally get him to calm down, you take another step to the door, he may go back crazy again. You stop right there, regroup, rinse and repeat, for lack of better terms, until you can get to the door comfortably with him in control, with you in control of him, not him in control of the situation. And then you go to open the door. The odds are, as soon as you touch the doorknob, he's going to act up again. We stop, we repeat, rinse, repeat, till the point where you can open the door and invite your guest in, because his state of mind is calm. If his state of mind is calm, they cannot come in. And then your guest's job is, to quote Cesar Millan, no look, no touch, no talk. They're not to address your dog at all. They're not to look at your dog. They're not to speak to your dog. They're not to do anything with your dog. They're totally supposed to ignore them, because they're coming to your house to see you, not the dog. I think the biggest mistake most people make is when they come into a house, the first thing they do when they see a dog is they address the dog. And if you have a dog that's not sure how to behave in that, that's a recipe for disaster. So they do not address the dog. You have to stay calm, trust yourself. The 3 C's of training, guys, remember, calm, confidence equals control. Calm, confidence equals control. Comes from us. So if I was there, I would keep short leash. Dog is right. He's right next to me. I invite the guest in. They just come in. I can give them a hug. I can say hello to them. They walk in. They go to wherever the gathering place is, the den, the living room, the kitchen, wherever the gathering place is. And then when he's in a calm state of mind, you can bring him over in a calm way to the guests. If his mind stays calm, they can start the process of petting him. Not talking to him, not anything, just petting him, calm. And at any time he acts up, again, we're not going to worry about the bite, because he has the muzzle on. So we're not going to freak out because he can bite somebody. If they're stupid enough to stick their fingers in the muzzle, they deserve to get bit. If he gets excited or agitated or any other state of mind but calm when they're going to pet him, we correct them with a leash correction. Nope. And we stop the process until the state of mind is calm, and we continue. It's that rinse and repeat theory. So we invited 1 guest in, then maybe once we master 1 guest, invite 2 guests, invite 3 guests, until he understands that that whole process of us inviting guests in represents calm. Because here's what I'm going to tell you happened over the 14 years of this happening, is he showed his normal dog excitement at the door. And nobody ever told him that's unacceptable. And then the worst part is people still, when he's in an unsure state of mind, are going over to try to pet him, and he feels nobody has his back. I have to defend myself. It becomes a nip, not a bite, because biting and nipping are 2 different things in this world, guys. Nobody ever told him what to expect or how to react or how to behave from when he was this big. And that is a huge, huge disconnect in the dogs. And we got to start doing that. So it's 14, doesn't matter. It's never too late. And it may not even, he may never ever be BFFs with everybody that comes into the house. What I want him to do is coexist, which is, you have guests in your house that he doesn't want to be pet, go to your bed, go to your crate, leave the crate open, wherever he's comfortable. And people have to learn to leave him the hell alone. People make the mistake constantly, is they see this dog who's acting unsure, acting scared, aggressive, whatever words we want to use on it. And what we end up doing, people end up doing is, it's okay, I love dogs. And the dog is like, you're not listening to me. Think about it. how many times if you have kids or you've dealt with friends or family members or anybody, and they're trying to tell you something and you're not listening, how pissed off they get. Dogs do too, guys. Unfortunately, when the dog gets pissed off, it usually ends up being a nip or a bite situation because nobody's listening to what they're saying. And what he's probably saying is, I don't know how to act, so I feel threatened when all these people come in. So if we slow the whole process, take the time. Don't get frustrated. Remember, guys, no anger, no frustration, no nonsense. You don't like the behavior? No. Turn that no into a yes by having them behave. So, guys, we're at the magic half hour mark. I think today, I love the questions I got. Thank you, Cindy. Thank you, Kim, for the questions. I really appreciate them. We'll be live again next Saturday. Remember, mark your calendars, October 28th, Mastering the Walk Back to Basic Style, live in front of a studio audience here in Indian Land, South Carolina, and will be broadcasted on my Facebook page, Remember Me Rescues Facebook page, and my YouTube channel, free around the country and around the world. So mark your calendars. Tell your friends about it. Have them mark their calendars. It's an event. Find the one that says it's an online event. If you're not local, say you're going, because I want to see how many people are really interested in this. If you're local, go to the event on my page. Say you're going, because this is going to help. This seminar I've done has helped hundreds, if not thousands, of people learn how to have that happy walk with their dog, so walking your dog is enjoyable and not stressful. So with that being said, guys, as always, thank you for inviting me into your homes each and every Saturday morning. You have no idea how good this feels when I do this. This makes my week. I look forward to this every Saturday. We'll be live again next Saturday at 11 o'clock. Excuse me. As always, stay healthy, stay safe, God bless, and remember, together we can help one dog and one family at a time. Enjoy the rest of your weekend, guys, and we'll see you next Saturday.